Hey guys, how is everyone doing? It's Malbec here with another favorite video, and today I got you a pretty nice video guys because it's full of action, mainly from the Bale testing which is recently had, and it also has a lot of interesting stuff for you to see and to analyze with me, and I'm referring to the battle reports. A lot of battle reports with crazy stuff, crazy rally leaders, a lot of rally leaders because the 6 strongest tribes in the game were paired in the same group. So that was a carnage, I have to say. And we got some Petra, a lot of Petra reports, I have to say, to analyze as well and see if she was really worth or not at the end. You know, we had that kind of question on the analysis that I did from her to see her in action on a Bale, for example. And that's exactly what we'll answer with this video. Buenas gente, pequeño paréntesis acá para los que me miran en español, así no se tienen que fumar los subtítulos. Despreocúpense porque no hay mucho que relatar, es decir, el video va a estar en inglés, pero no es que esté hablando media hora en inglés. Es decir, hablo ahora al inicio un poquito para aclarar de qué trata el video y cómo fue el emparejamiento, porque encima es un video del valle de testeo que tuvimos, que fue una auténtica carnicería. Y después, bueno, va a tener mucha escena de combate que logré grabar y que las logré recopilar y encima las acelero un poco, así no dura tanto el video. Todo eso va a estar con música de fondo. Y después hacia el final está el análisis de reporte, que esa sí es la parte que va a estar en inglés en su mayoría. Si hay algo que destacar igual en español, no sé, este combo es muy bueno. Bueno, yo igual lo voy a aclarar en español, así ustedes entienden de qué va la cosa. Pero nada, para que lo tengan en cuenta. El video es justamente del Valle, como les digo. Mucha acción, la verdad que hubo. No solo el Valle en sí, sino que es una semana repleta de acción, porque tuvimos viernes y sábado pasado el enfrentamiento de clanes contra Spark, creo que estuvo bastante intenso. Domingo y lunes este Valle de testeo que duró 2 días con 800% de curación, que fue una locura. Encima el grupo de nosotros era el grupo de la muerte, porque teníamos las 6 alianzas más fuertes en el juego, estaban en ese grupo. Xeno, East, Dawn, RPM, WH y Fury. Así que fue realmente una auténtica locura y fue muy vistoso. Por eso les digo que para mí lo van a disfrutar bastante, sobre todo esas escenas de combate que van a estar con musiquita, muchísimo campo abierto y muchísimo rally leader también. Por eso digo que los reportes también van a estar interesantes, por más que yo los hable en inglés, está bueno verlos. Mucho reporte con Petra, así que esa es la parte interesante también para ver si realmente funciona como nosotros queríamos ver en batallas a campo abierto, que es lo que importa y no tanto en arena, y poco más, chicos. Así que disfruten del video y nos veremos hacia el final. So that being said, for the Spanish viewers, and before jumping directly into the war scenes, I have to say the matchmaking was crazy this Bale. Despite being a test Bale, the matchmaking was nuts because in our group, which was the death group, I would say, we had the 6 strongest tribes in the game, as I said in the beginning. We had in one faction Xeno, East, and Dawn, which is crazy if you ask me, 38 billion East and Dawn, each of them. Then Xeno was like 41, 42 billion. But the thing is that each of those tribes are very well known for their activity, for the fighters they got, and for the whales they got. You know, Xeno has Recov. They recently merged with FWB on this migration, so they did receive a pretty nice buff in terms of activity. Then East has crazy Krakens, especially Vordmus from being a Circer main, and then Overlord on Dawn. So really good faction over there. And in our faction, we had WH, Fury, and RPM. Which, if you ask me, we were kind of on a disadvantage. But WH really impressed me because WH was the weakest tribe in terms of power. And despite being the weakest, they were the highest scoring tribe at the end of the Bale. And that was crazy, you know. They got amazing whales, crazy good activity. They love fighting. They got a lot of kills, a lot of whales, especially Ice. That guy is a beast. They had like 34 billion, I believe, when they started. RPM was like 35, 36 billion, and Fury was 37, I believe. So at the end, we had less power than the opponent faction. So yeah, guys, crazy matchmaking. Despite that, we still gave a pretty decent show, I have to say. It was a carnage, especially the open field fights between Xeno and East against WH and RPM on the left side of the map. That was crazy. I did get a lot of scenes over there that you will see in a bit. But yeah, the main purpose of this Bale, since the devs made it for testing, was to test the new war machines. I don't have much to talk about them, that's the truth. I didn't manage to record a lot, that's the truth as well. But from what I saw, they do need a little bit of a fix, especially on the cost, I believe. They are very expensive. And then in terms of the use, we did see them being used by East, for example, and they did try taking down a tower from us, but they didn't take it. It was left with a little bit of health. I don't know if it was because their war machine wasn't at the max level, but even if it was and it cannot take down a tower, I don't think it's worth to use them. I believe they need enough damage to take down one tower at least to make it interesting. That's what I have to say about the war machines. Besides that, it's worth to mention as well, we had an 800% healing buff for everyone on this Bale testing. That's the main reason you will see a lot of open field, because we didn't care much about troops. On a normal Bale without that 800% healing, we would do a little bit of open field, but we need to save troops for rallies, because at the end you're using rallies to take buildings. But it's worth to mention it because I really like it, this 800%. It's something that they could implement in the official Bale, because it was really crazy, the open field with these healings. It's also worth to mention that the more healings we had, it meant the more troops we were losing. The permanent troops lost were probably higher on this Bale than in any other. It would be nice that we could recover all the death troops. The duration was 2 days. That's also worth to mention. I didn't like it being that short. I prefer 3 days and even longer if we could, because as I said, we had action during the entire week. We had on the past weekend and now we're having on this weekend. And I prefer this type of action than having a battle every 2 weeks.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move.
only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
And here, guys, I show you how the map has finished. It wasn't easy, but we did manage to get a win at the end. It was worth and fun, I have to say. Despite being a bale testing, I believe everyone took it seriously. Opponents and allies. So, first of all, GG's to all of our opponents, mainly Xeno, East, and Don. Crazy good fights, amazing tribes. Good Shaw and Fury on the right side against Don. We did struggle against Don on the right side. And then amazing shove and coordination from RPM and WH on the left side. Crazy good shot from leadership and amazing activity from both of the tribes. Here I show you the rankings, a little bit of them. As I've told you, our faction managed to win. Crazy good points you will see from WH. They took the first spot, and that's worth to say it because I dare to say they are the new powerhouse. RPM over there, third spot with almost 10 billion points. We are recruiting, so if you're looking for a new server, you still got time until reset from today. The migration is open and we got a few spots open to fill. In terms of the individual rankings, Ice again taking the MVP, almost 2 billion points. That guy is just in another league, guys. He's playing on another level. And to finish with the video, guys, let's go with the interesting part, which are the battle reports. We got a lot of them, and this was the first one, and I have to say I was completely surprised with this report, because it wasn't only the first one, it was a 2v1 from WH Ice, which is their main Kraken, which is crazy, probably the strongest player in the game right now, against Vormos Circers, which is one of the strongest Circer players in the game, and Rikov Archers. So this was crazy, guys. When I saw this, and I saw trading positive with Petra Karl on a tower, it's not the same being on a wall where you have 4 million troops than being on a tower where you have 3.5 million troops, and also against Rikov, which is probably one of the strongest archer players in the game. Man, that was a crazy report, I have to say. 2v1 and almost positive on both of them. It's worth to mention here that Vormos, as you can see, he's using Freya Arian, which is not the greatest offensive combo. It works pretty decent on the arena and open field, high damage, but as far as it's defended by another team. Here, I would say Sean Arthur or Frey Arthur are probably the best options for Rally offensively. It's also worth to mention that probably Vormos was using Arthur or Sean in other teams. He maybe was attacking other towers, he probably was defending a wall, so he didn't have many options, and he wanted to test with this combo against Petra Karl, which, as you can see, it defended amazingly. It's a Petra Karl chess. It doesn't have crazy healings, crazy shields, or something special or unique such as, I don't know, healing reduction or immunity to debuffs. It has shields with Karl, it has a lot of counterattack damage from Petra, but that's it. It has a few debuffs, mainly from Karl main skill with the HP reduction, but that's it. And it's impressive to see such good report over here, especially against Rikov's Sean Arthur, which is probably one of the strongest combos for archers. I believe later we can see for Arthur, which is also an interesting one to see, but again, it's just crazy that this combo worked that well. It's probably also due to the stats difference. Keep that in mind, guys. There's a huge difference. Despite being Vormos, he was minus 70% attack and minus 80% defense over here. 528 on the Circus attack is crazy for Ice, and 509 on the defense as well. It's just nuts stats, you know. I'm really jealous of these. I would love to have those stats. And then on the damage, they were pretty close, I have to say, you know. A little bit more damage for Burmos, but at the same time, a little bit more damage reduction for Ice here. The huge difference here was in the troop counter-attack damage, which again, this is something that Petra Karl would benefit a lot, but he only has 20%, and the attacker here is Barmos with a 48.5% increase over there, which is nuts. Then on the damage increase, as you can see, 62 against 64, more in favor for Barmos over there offensively, and then 70% damage reduction for Ice and 62 for this guy, for Barmos, sorry. Then on the other stats, I don't think there was much of a difference, you know, 24 against 20 on the Garrison Circus defense. The attack, well, whoa, the attack was crazy there. 43% Garrison Circus attack against 7.5. That's also something that benefits Ice over here. So not only the 70% attack difference from the main stat, but also a 40, I would say 35%-ish attack over here for the Garrison. So yeah, crazy good stats for Ice over here. That's also reason the result was this one. And then against Rykov, we'll see, but you guys know the stats from him. 578 on the extrovert attack, 327 on the defense, and 430 on the HP, which is not too bad. I mean, he could probably have a little bit more defense, such as Overlord has. We'll see that report later on the stats from that guy. Then on the troop counter-attack damage here, it was the same, 20% for both of them. And then on the damage increase, 62 for Circus, 42 only on the extroverts. That's a little low for Rykov, I have to say. Maybe some runes changed over there. And then 70% of reduction for Circus and 66 for the extroverts, which is not too bad. And the extrovert difference, well, here it wasn't that bad, you know. Circus Garrison attack 43% and Garrison extrovert attack almost 40% for Rykov over here. So not too bad of a report. Acá, chicos, este fue el primer reporte, lo que estoy diciendo. Fue un reporte bastante sorprendente porque fue una defensa 2 contra 1. Petra Karl encima, que no es un combo que tenga unas super curaciones o muchos escudos o inmunidad a debuff o incluso remover escudos como puede tener un combo con Jisun Sin, o que involucre a un Arturo, una Freya que te puede reducir la curación. Es tan solo Petra Karl, es decir, te ofrece escudos Karl, te ofrece debuff Karl con la primera, esa reducción de punto de salud en un 25%, mucho daño con Petra, sobre todo contra ataque, pero nada sorprendente. Y es increíble que haya defendido casi positivamente ambos reportes. Por nada no le defendió positivo a Rykov, siendo un 2 contra 1 contra 2 de las ballenas más fuertes del juego. Realmente es una locura. Yo les mostraba ahí las estadísticas, igual le saca mucha diferencia, igual la realidad es esa, prácticamente un 70% de ataque a favor de Ice, que es el jugador ballena de WH, 80% a favor de defensa. Después en daño están bastante parecidos, en incremento y reducción, quizás un 8% a favor de este jugador Ice. La diferencia creo que también estuvo acá, en estas estadísticas de Garrison, como yo les decía, 43% a favor de Ice y tan solo 7,5 de Bormos. Ahí le saca una diferencia masiva, prácticamente entre esta estadística y la primera es como un 100% extra de ataque, si no un poco más. Entonces realmente hay una diferencia, me impresionó mucho, pero consideren, como les digo, las estadísticas de los jugadores. Es decir, es un combo que van a ver que funciona muy bien defensivamente, pero porque lo está utilizando Ice. Igual, ofensivamente me sorprendió más que defensivamente. Vi a Bormos usando Petra Karl ofensivamente y le dio buenos resultados. Estaría bueno haber visto a Wood o Mason, pero la verdad es que no lo utilizaron mucho. Lo que sí me sorprendió mucho es en campo abierto. Es un combo que funcionó realmente bien, sobre todo a mí, que se los digo como un jugador promedio, digamos, de Zerkers, que me costaba el campo abierto últimamente. Estaba utilizando mucho Juan Arturo, Freya Arturo. Bueno, con Petra Karl la verdad que saqué muy buenos reportes a campo abierto. Así que los invito a utilizarlo, es un combo a considerar a campo abierto. Then we got the next report, which is from us, our PM Abel, attacking East over here, which has Vormus defending. So if Petra Karl worked for WH, Vormus wanted to test it out as well. And it didn't work as good as for Ice, but I believe it's because the level difference between the players, you know. Abel and Vormus are pretty close, I would say, than Ice and Vormus are, you know. There was a huge gap on the stats, we saw it from Ice over Vormus on the previous report. But here they are pretty close, and still Abel managed to get a positive report, a pretty good one, I would say. the same number of troops, I believe, because a tower has 3.5 and Abel Riley was with 3.5 as well. Then the stats were there; they are a bit higher in this report for Bournemouth, but keep in mind the attack is increased by Carl by a 20%, so that's why we will see here a little bit more attack over there. And then the defense 444 over there, 432 on the HP. Then the attack from the extras from Abel 573, almost 400% on the defense. 441 on the HP as well. The difference, I believe, is here on the troop damage. 10% troop damage for Abel, 40% troop damage for Bournemouth. That's a 30% damage increase for Bournemouth over here. Then we got troop damage reduction, again 20% against 44%, huge difference in favor to Bournemouth over there. Then we got troop normal attack damage, it's pretty much the same. Troop counter attack damage, also the same, 18.5%. Then we got the increased damage dealt from the Circus, almost 80%, 77 is nuts for Bournemouth, 40% for Abel, that's pretty low, I have to say. Then damage reduction for Circus, 70% for Bournemouth, 52 for Abel over here. So there's a pretty difference, I would say, in terms of damage in favor to Bournemouth, and still Abel getting a nice report over here. So not too bad, I have to say, not too bad. Bournemouth is still missing these Garrison stats, I believe. He has less than Abel over here in terms of the attack. And also on the defense, I believe 37% for Abel and 20% for from Bournemouth here, despite him being the one defending. So not too bad of a report. Again, I believe Petra Karl works, but not as crazy as other combos. YSS Arthur, you will see it later. Abel struggles a lot to beat Bournemouth's YSS Arthur. But here, Petra Karl, nothing too impressive, still pretty decent. Then we got this report over here, again a 2v1 here, and still trading positive, it's the same as the first one. Here the difference is Bournemouth trying out Freya Ama, which I believe is slightly better than Erin, mainly because of the healings you can get from Ama over there. But still, pretty much the same, the stats. Recap trading way more positive here, that's also worth to mention. Sean Arthur, same combo over there, maybe he changed it something on the runes. Then we got this report over here, another defense, I believe. Yeah, again, a 2v1, and look at this is impressive because he got a positive report, I believe, well, almost positive. It's against Freya Erin, again from Bournemouth, but the difference here is that Rikov is trying with Farhad Arthur. Surprisingly, with Sean, it worked way better for Rikov over here. It's interesting because Farhad works way better against an Arthur defensively, mainly because Farhad can ignore the shields, but here, since Petra Karl doesn't offer you many shields, Farhad isn't that useful. Xuan here came really big over there on those previous reports, dealing crazy amounts of damage that Farhad doesn't offer here. But yeah, pretty interesting to say over there. It did defend well against Farhad Arthur. Here we got Ice attacking, so we'll see here what happened. Yeah, it's Ice with Sean Arthur offensively against YSS Arthur, which is probably the best defensive combo, I would say. And here from Bournemouth, he traded positive. Again, I believe there's a huge gap in terms of stats between Ice and Bournemouth. If it was close in terms of stats, I would believe this report over here would have been a 1-1 trade. Then we got Whitehill over here, another defense against Frey Ama. Again, Petra Karl doing crazy work over here. And yeah, again, as you can see, Sean Arthur working way better than Farhad Arthur. It was worth to test it for Rikov over there. Then we got Abel offensively. Let's see what we can see over here. Abel again trying Sean Arthur against Bournemouth over here. This was a crazy good report from Abel, considering they are pretty much at the same level, I would say. Almost a 2-1 against YSS Arthur from East over there. I don't remember if this was a 2v1, WH helping Abel over here, but if it wasn't, it's still a pretty amazing report from Abel. Then we got Whitehill defending the gate here. on a 2v1, I believe. Yeah, it's a 2v1 as well. Crazy good damage from Sean Arthur again. And then we got Frey Arthur from Bournemouth here. As you can see, there we got the first positive report for Bournemouth on a 2v1, as you can see over there. Frey Arthur demonstrating it's probably the meta combo for Circus. I believe Sean Arthur would have been way better, but we'll see if he tried it later. There were a lot of attacks from solos here trying to debuff, but they didn't work. Now the debuff needs to, the teams that you're using to try and debuff a rally, for example, need to have plus 100k troops. That's something they added recently, so the one troop doesn't work anymore. Then we got here Whitehall defending the pass again, the same scenario. Frey Arthur, this time it didn't work positive for Bournemouth. That's impressive. This was just a 1-1. I don't see any more over here, so that's the reason it didn't work that great for Bournemouth. This is crazy because Frey Arthur on a 1v1 here, it's still not managing to break through that Petra Carl. That's crazy, I have to say. Then we got another over here. Here, as you can see, Ice did change and he's using YSS Arthur to see if it was better than Petra Carl. And here he got a 2v1. Again, it's a 2v1, so not too bad. I mean, the report was pretty decent. He got a positive trade against East Bournemouth over there, but he did get a negative 3-1 against Rykov. So Petra Carl was working better for Ice over here, but I believe it was just for this scenario specifically. Not too bad of a report. I don't show these stats because it's the same players, It's Ice, Vormus, and this guy Rykov from Sino. Then we got this report over here. Again, here he swapped back to Petra Carl because, as I told you, it was working better for Ice here. So not too bad of a trade over here. A slightly negative for Ice. And then we got a 3-1 from Rykov on Petra Carl from Ice. So it's pretty much the same as the YSS Arthur for Ice over here. 3-1 trade. Pretty good damage from Rykov over there. Bournemouth here was taking all the damage and Rykov was dealing most of it. Then we got a Bell here, another attack from him. I don't know against what? Yeah, against the wall here. So it was a Bell trading positive against YSS Petra. And this right here is an interesting report because keep in mind, this is a 2v1, I believe. Here it's a 1v1, but I believe WH Ice was attacking this pass at the same time with us. So if it was a 2v1, the combo is not too bad because if it was a 1v1, it should have been slightly better for the defenders over here. But it's still a victory for Abel over here. Pretty solid victory. Sean Arthur against YSS Petra. I don't know if it's a great combo defensively because what I analyzed it on the hero analysis that we did from Petra is that this combo doesn't offer you a lot of debuffs, And Petra damage from the 4th skill benefits from having a debuff on the opponent. So that's why I say it wasn't much of an impressive combo to me. But I did forget that YSS Hero's Tale offers you with the attribute from the Wind Walkers, I believe it's the name. He offers you debuffs with the 3rd skill, if I'm not mistaken, which are permanent for 5 seconds. So at the end, it does offer you some debuffs, this combo, but it's not too crazy, The healings, I don't know if they were crazy. Yeah, they were pretty decent, 9 million healings. That's a lot of healings, actually, considering Petra was a healer over here. So not too bad. Still a positive trade for Abel over there. Then we got this right here, another attack from Abel, and it's the same. It's YSS Petra again, 2-1 trade, even slightly better for Abel this time over here. But I strongly believe, again, I believe Ice was attacking this as well. Then we got Ice over here, and he's attacking the wall as well. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, I remember now. Ice was attacking with Petra Carl, and Abel was attacking with Sean Arthur, as you can see. So look at the damage Petra Carl was dealing to that combo. So the theory is kind of confirmed here. I would like to see this on a 1v1 instead of a 2v1, since it could be an interesting combo YSS Petra. I still believe YSS Arthur performs better, but not too bad that Petra Carl attack from Ice over here. Keep in mind also the wall has 4 million troops, and here Ice has 3.8. I believe Ice has how is it called, the rune that increases the rally capacity by up to, I don't know how much it was, 12%, as you can see over there. So Abel doesn't have this one, so we were attacking with 3.5 million troops, I believe. But still pretty good results over there. Then we got another attack from Abel on the same situation. YSS Petra again, almost a 2-1. Then we got Ice attacking the same over here, and as you can see, there's a difference over here. Bormus here swapped to YSS Arthur, which I believe it worked way better for him than YSS Petra. So I still believe this is the best defensive combo. Keep in mind, Ice is the strongest player in the game. So here Bormus is taking a 2v1 and still trading pretty decent against Ice, Petra Karl. I believe if Ice used Sean Arthur would have been better than Petra Karl. Then we got this right here, which I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's a defense, I believe, from Wood. Who is defending here? Let me check here real quick if we can. Mason is defending here. So not too bad. Still a 2-1 trade in favor to Bormus over here with Frey Arthur. There we go. Let's go with the next one. Did it have some counter? No, it didn't have any. Let's go with the next one. Again, YSS Arthur, still from Mason, I believe, but there was an issue here that we didn't have enough troops to fill the tower. You can see it down there, 2.6 million. We were struggling with the troops over here, so that's the reason these reports are pretty decent for Bormus, but still worth to show them. Then we got RPM defending the pass over here, but I believe Ice was the one holding it here. Let me quickly check it. Yeah, Ice is sending his Petra Karl. And pretty good, still an amazing trade for Bormus. And that's what I was talking before, you know. Bormus using Frey Erin, Frey Amma, Frey Arthur, and working but not that great. Sean Arthur here comes to say that she's the best option for Zergers offensively, because he's trading pretty good against that Petra Karl, which was defending previously against Bormus. So not too bad over there. Then we got RPM again defending the door over here. Same combo, still trading pretty good for Bormus. I don't know if Rikov was attacking this at the same time, because I don't see Rikov down here. So it's just East attacking this pass, because I believe this pass was on the other side, you know. There was a pass which had Sino and East, and this pass only had East in front. Another report defensively from Petra Karl against Vormus, still trading good for that Sean Arthur. Then we got this right here, which is Raid Freya, not defending that great. I believe this is Mason as well, or Wood. Yeah, it's Mason again. A 3-1, almost 3-1 trade for Vormus over there. There's a difference on the stats, I believe. Mason is a little below in terms of his stats, but still pretty close. Yeah, as you can see, almost a 40% attack difference in favor to Bormus, and also a 40% on the defense. That's something that really affects the battle. Then the counterattack damage, it's been, well, way higher for us actually, 50% against 20. 41 against 58, there's a huge difference over there, 20% extra damage for Bormus. I don't know if, yeah, here, up there as well, troop damage 8% against 25, and then reduction, it's pretty close, 63 against 65, so yeah, there's a huge difference still from Mason to Bormus. Then we got Whitehell defending here against Rikov, and this is crazy because Ice is defending with any troop he uses. You know, here he's using Frey Amma, which is good, but it's not the greatest combo. And he's defending against Rikov's strongest combo, which is Sean Arthur. And it's almost a positive trade, you know. It's almost a 1-1, and he's trading good. It's just impressive, guys. Pretty crazy to see that. Then we got Abel offensively here with a catapult, as you can see over there. Abel here trading negative. I don't know what's the difference here, because we saw previously Abel using Sean Arthur and doing a 2-1 trade, and here we got a 2-1 trade almost in favor to our opponents. But I believe here it was a 1-1 situation, you know, 1v1, and the other one where he got a 2-1 trade Abel, it was a 2v1 with the help of Ice. But still worth the shot, you know. It worked way better YSS Arthur, as you can see. If this was a Petra Karl from Bormus, Abel would have gotten a positive trade. But here, YSS Arthur from Bormus, pretty solid, even against Ice, we saw it previously. Abel here trying with Farhad Arthur, which for me works way better than Sean Arthur. It fits against a YSS Arthur, mainly because Farhad ignores the shields from Arthur. So not too bad here, still negative for Abel, but worth a shot to try different options against Bournemouth YSS Arthur. Then we got YSS Arthur defending here against Ence. Remember, Sino received a lot of players, like I believe 40 from FWB. So they got a couple good whales over there. Ence is one of them, still not trading good against YSS Arthur here. I don't know from who. Let me check if it's Wood. It's Ice. Yeah, it's Ice. That's a 2-1 trade in favor to Ice over there. Pretty good defense. Then we got, well, I got a couple cavalry rallies over here. This was a counter rally from Chopped. Not too bad against Rikov. We did use cavalry a lot for counter rallies. I don't have any report from Enforcer, I believe, from Fury, but he did use cavalry a lot against Overlord from Dawn. Then we got Abel here trying another combo, Freya Ama, and this time it's against Freya Raid from Bournemouth. Still pretty close. Abel slightly negative over there. He needs to work, especially on the rune that I was talking about before, the one that increases the troop limit for the rally leaders. That would help Abel a lot, and a little bit more on the damage, I believe. That's the only few things he's missing. But still pretty good report over there from him. Then we got WH defending against Dawn here. We got a new trade over here. Still Overlord. I believe that's the strongest archer player in the game. Rikov still was trading really good, but here Overlord as well taking a positive trade against WH Ice over here. Let me see the stats from Overlord. You know, the ones from Ice, you saw them, but I didn't show the ones from Overlord. 540 on the attack, 440 on the defense, and 440 on the HP. So here a little bit more balanced stats for Overlord. Let's see the damage. 23 against 15 from Ice over there. Troop damage reduction 43 against 33. Skill damage dealt, that's huge difference over there. Almost, yeah, I believe it's a 13% extra for Overlord here. Troop normal attack damage, not really much of a difference. Troop counter attack again the same. 25 against 17. Then damage increase 50% almost from Circus, 45% from the extra hours on Overlord, and then 72 against 67 almost on the damage reduction. So pretty close over there. This one here is again a huge difference though. Look at the Berserker's attack. Ice has here almost 50% against 32% from Overlord over there. And then the defense as well, huge gap, still better for Overlord here, 32 against 24. And the HP pretty much the same, 35 against 19. So not too bad, pretty good stats from Overlord, and it's the right combo to use against YSS Arthur, so it's expected to be a positive trade. Then we got this right here. Let's see again, another defense, this one against Lean from East. This is a whale from East, but not too crazy, you know. He's still working on his stats. As you can see, not even a 500% attack on the extra hours, not even 400% defense or HP. And I believe the damage is pretty much the same, you know. It's pretty decent still, 46% damage increase, but only 34 on the damage reduction. Worth a shot from East though, worth a shot. Then we got another defense here again, Frey Ama against Sean Arthur from Bournemouth, almost a positive trade, pretty impressive. Then we got WH against Overlord, I believe. Yeah, here Overlord trying with Frey Arthur, worked good, but I believe Farhad Arthur was slightly better. I strongly believe that. Then we got the two last reports, another defense from WH over here. Frey Ama against Frey Arthur. As you can see, I still think Sean Arthur works way better for Circus for Bournemouth over here. And then the last report, Ice offensively against Dawn, I believe. Yeah, Ice here, 1v1, trying Petra Karl offensively against Dawn, YSS Sean defending. He did try different combos here. I'll show you a little bit because he did try a lot. You know, here as you can see, Overlord defending with that, but he also tried with something else that was down here. Let me find it if I can real quick here. He tried it with Freya Farhad, didn't work amazing, I have to say, and he also tried with Sean Arthur as well defensively. I believe the best option for him was this one right here, which is YSS Sean, and it's still a 2-1 trade for Ice here, so massive damage taken by Dawn over here defensively. Así que esos fueron los reportes, chicos. Sé que lo dije la mayoría en inglés, pero bueno, acá les hago un pequeño resumen en español igual, para que se hagan una idea de todo lo que vimos. Mucho reporte ofensivo con Petra Karl por parte de ICE. Pero entiendan la diferencia que hay de estadísticas. Este jugador es probablemente el más fuerte en todo el juego. Tenía más de 500% en ataque y en defensa, que no es fácil de conseguir ambas estadísticas arriba de 500. Prácticamente un 80% de reducción de daño. 60% de daño incrementado, mucho ataque extra por sobre Vormos, prácticamente un 120% extra. Entonces hay una diferencia abismal y es por eso que el combo funciona para él. Habría que ver en situaciones más parejas. Aún así yo vi ofensivamente a Vormos, por ejemplo, utilizar este combo de Petra Karl y le resultó a un jugador que podríamos decir es una gran ballena, pero está más en el nivel de las ballenas promedio que tienen en todo el juego, ¿no? Está al nivel de Abel, al nivel de Rekov, al nivel de Overlord y otras tantas. Este jugador que está acá, Ice, está muy por encima, juega en otra liga ahora mismo. Aún así, como les digo, es un combo que resultó bien ofensivamente. Creo que hay una mejor opción que es Juana Arturo, pero después está a la par con Freya Arturo, diría yo. Es decir, el daño de Petra Karl ofensivamente no estuvo tan mal y estuvo al nivel de una Freya Arturo, por ejemplo. Pero Juan Arturo creo que es la mejor opción ofensiva y defensivamente también resultó ser un buen combo, pero nada alocado. Consideren nuevamente que las diferencias estadísticas son muy grandes a favor de este jugador. Creo que Jisun sin Arturo demostró ser mucho mejor combo y se vio en los reportes de Abel, por ejemplo. Abel atacó a Vormos utilizando Petra Karl defensivamente y le resultó muy buen reporte positivo a Abel. Y en cambio, cuando Vormos cambió a su Jisun sin Arturo, Abel prácticamente no logró conseguir ningún reporte positivo, a pesar de que trató con todo. Obviamente le falta un poquito de trabajo a Abel, sobre todo con la runa del límite de rallies. Ahí le sacan mucha diferencia ofensivamente a otros jugadores. Le falta conseguir esa runa, pero ni bien la consiga, ese extra de tropas creo que lo va a ayudar a sacar reportes muy positivos. Así que nada, conclusión es esa, es decir, el meta creo que sigue siendo el mismo, ofensivamente tanto para arqueros como para infantería. Juan Arturo es la mejor opción, Farhad Arturo es la mejor opción ofensivamente para arqueros contra Jisun sin Arturo, por el beneficio que te otorga Farhad siendo inmune o ignorando los escudos. Y después defensivamente creo que el más sólido sigue siendo Jisun sin Arturo sin duda alguna. Petra Karl demostró igual ser un gran combo como una opción secundaria, por ejemplo, para defender. Yo lo decía en el video de análisis de Petra que hicimos, tenés muchas opciones defensivas, pero creo que las principales son, si querés armar tres distintas, tenés Jisun sin Arturo por un lado para defender contra el principal rally que te estén haciendo, y después otras opciones pueden ser, por ejemplo, Freya Raid y Petra Karl en otra instancia. Incluso Freya Materasu, como les decía también en el video de análisis de Petra, puede ser otra opción, como por ejemplo para reforzar una tercera torre o algo que te haga falta, que no sea tan esencial mandar tu marcha principal, ¿no? Es decir, yo soy fiel creyente que Jisun sin Arturo es la mejor opción, pero después puedes juguetear un poco con los héroes y quizás armarte, no sé, Petra Raid y Freya Materasu, o conservar Freya Raid y jugar con este combo de Petra Karl, que demostró ser bastante bueno defensivamente, nada excepcional. Después en campo abierto creo que ha sido un éxito, tengo que admitirlo, porque a mí me funcionó muy bien, chicos. Es decir, yo lo probé en campo abierto y saqué muy buenos reportes. Es decir, no es que saqué reportes alocados bajándole 1 millón de poder a los jugadores, pero hice estos ataques que yo me metía en campo abierto y atacaba a todas las tropas que podía, y la mayoría resultaban positivos. A pesar de tradear poquitito, siempre trataba de sacar un reporte positivo, incluso contra jugadores que eran un poco más fuertes que yo. Es decir, estas pequeñas diferencias que yo les estoy mostrando acá de menos 11.000 contra 17.000 de poder, es algo que hice en, no sé, cientos de reportes que están acá en campo abierto. Y es algo que yo con Juan Arturo o con Freya Arturo no estaba sacando tan positivamente. Con este combo lo logré hacer. Así que me gustó y me convenció para utilizarlo en campo abierto. Probablemente va a ser mi combo principal en lo que viene siendo campo abierto. Y después voy a tener combos ofensivos y defensivos para mi castillo o rallies. Es la conclusión que logré sacar. So in conclusion, guys, Petra Karl resulted on what I expected, and even better in terms of open field, for example, which is something I didn't show you the reports, but it was working amazingly. I have to say, I've been using Sean Arthur, Freya Arthur in the open field, and they weren't trading that good against that many players that you saw in the war scenes here. In this video, for example, I was using Petra Karl in the open field as my only team, and I was trading pretty good in most of the reports, even against Wales, obviously with the benefit of me attacking with other players alongside me, because on a 1v1 I would be losing all of the reports. But since I was doing a 3v1 or a 4v1 using this Petra Karl combo, I was trading pretty good and dealing a lot of damage. So it's the first time I felt useful on the open field, I have to say, thanks to this combo. Now, in at least it's what I expected, guys. It's probably a secondary combo. Keep in mind, all of the reports you saw here working amazing from Petra Karl are from Ice, and that guy is the strongest player in the game with the highest stats, and he obviously has a high advantage against anyone he faces in a 1v1. So keep that in mind when saying Petra Karl is amazing, because here is being used by a Mega Whale. When Bormus used it, for example, which is also an amazing Kraken in the game, it wasn't working that good, especially when a Bell attacked him, for example. You know, a Bell attacking Petra Karl from Bormus was trading positive, and instead when Bormus swapped to YSS Arthur, he was trading positive against any of the attacks from Abel. So keep that in mind. I strongly believe the best defensive combo right now is YSS Arthur, must have, and then secondary options if you're a whale, for example, Freya Raid or Petra Karl. Even you can play a little bit and try Petra Raid, which is something nobody tried it, and I would have been really interested to test it out, and then play with Frey Ama. But it's still probably the 4 or 5 combos you can make for Zerkers defensively. Then offensively, I still believe Sean Arthur is the best combo by far. Petra Karl didn't perform bad offensively. Keep that in mind. I lost a report from Bormus using Petra Karl offensively, and it did work for him. So it's not a bad combo, but I still believe Sean Arthur deals way more damage. Petra Karl offensively, it would be on the same level as a Frey Arthur maybe, or a Frey Ama, you know. It's a good combo, but again, a secondary option, I would say. All of that being said, guys, I believe we can now finish with the video. So if you enjoyed it, if it was helpful and useful to you at the same time, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. You'll seriously help me a lot, and I will highly appreciate you for subscribing to the channel. Huge hug to everyone, and see you on the next time. Bye bye.